if they can go and stuff like that. So
Right.
we're quite passionate about that.
Thank you very much, both of you. And we're going to be going back to Studio Red.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liam. And I'm here with Matt Johnstone, running for the role of academic officer, but let's learn a bit more about the role. Academic officer represents students on issues relating to their course, teaching and learning facilities. The academic officer also works with over 400 course reps, department reps and faculty reps to ensure that every student has the opportunity to shape how their course is taught. Thank you, me, from a couple of weeks ago. And Matt joins me now. That's the first thing. If you just want to introduce yourself, why you're running, what your experience is.
Cool. So I'm Matt Johnstone. I'm running as the Beard, not a joke campaign. I'm running for academic officer. I'm a third year maths student. In my final year, I'm from Langworth College. This is my third year as a rep. I don't think I can say much more beyond that.
And it's also your second year running for the role. Has something changed in the past year that's made you want to do it again? Was it always something you were thinking about running again?
It's something I've been thinking about since the end of first year.
Yeah.
Originally, I wasn't going to run until I finished my degree, which at the time wasn't going to be until another couple of years, because I was going to be on a 5-year course. But no, I ran last year because I thought, you know what, let's go for it. At the very least, let's get the experience. And coming a nice second was good. It was encouraging.
And one of the 3 points you've given us in terms of your summary of the manifesto is standing up for students' rights during strikes. What does that mean to you?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because when it comes to strikes, the rights of everybody involved are what is at the core of it, especially with these strikes about pay conditions and stuff. But I don't know, it's really rough because you want students to feel like they're getting value for money for their degree, which is a phrase that I hate anyway, I'll be perfectly honest. I don't think a price should be put on education, but this is the world we live in. Students need to have their voice heard, and it needs to be carried up the chain of command straight to UCU.
And do you believe it's UCU that you should be talking to? Surely we should be backing UCU and fighting the university, is what a lot of students will say.
So, yeah, it's the lingo around this kind of thing and it's annoying sometimes because a lot of people might mix up UCU and UCEA, I believe it is. UCU unions should be standing together because we're fighting for the combined rights of staff and students right now. Nice drop on the pen. Talks need to happen with UCU, definitely. Because of the nature of student unions and unions in general. We need to stand together.
But if UCU is standing up for the rights of students, do you think that means supporting, opposing, staying neutral on this set of strikes coming up? If you were academic officer, what would you be pushing for in UCU right now?
I'd be pushing for the student voice to be heard. The students' union itself, UCU, shouldn't take a direct stance without being in consultation with students. What that consultation entails is open for debate. Personally, I'd quite like to see the academic rep network be used for that. Filtering down, or rather filtering up comments from students through course reps, through to department reps, having the faculty reps in faculty learning and teaching group, talking about it there, and just filtering all the way up to the academic officer. And then at that point, we can make a decision.
And the other argument has a lot of time been about reimbursement, potential reimbursement. There's always these petitions going around after strike action. Would you support students being reimbursed financially for the disruption caused by strikes?
If we're talking directly cash in hand, then I don't think that sets a good precedent. And I don't think it's plausible either. I don't think the university would go for it. There isn't direct policy which relates to strikes saying that we have to be reimbursed. So when it comes to what kind of ground we have to stand on, it gets kind of dodgy there.
But there are people who will say, well, the university's in essence making money off the strikes. They don't pay the lecturers and they're still getting money from students. What do you think that, in essence, strike profit should be used for, if not for reimbursing students?
Strike profit, that's an interesting phrase for it, actually. Yeah. So previously I mentioned cash in hand directly to students. I do think students should be reimbursed, just not with cash payouts in that sense. Like things like graduation gowns for the past few years, that's been really nice. And it doesn't go the full way, but the money is being spent elsewhere, I believe. So, yeah, free gowns would be nice.
And I want to talk about one of the other sort of big issues that's come up this year, which is the My UOY app. And it was initially intended that you would you'd send your location to the app, and it would monitor your attendance at lectures at seminars. Do you think the way that USU responded to the app was wrong?
Yes.
Why?
So I don't believe the university was in direct consultation with the Students' Union, as in they weren't inviting the Students' Union to talks about it. That is my understanding of it. I think we should have been taking a more proactive approach. We should have been talking to the staff involved directly. The previous academic officer was in talks about this, so we should have been as well.
But the argument will be, well, why are people criticising USU of the app when it's the university's thing, and USU, people like Steph Hell have been out against it. But if you were academic officer for last year, if you'd won last year, what would your approach have been different? Is it just be going to those meetings, or would you have come out the first day and said this is wrong?
I don't think attendance monitoring, in essence, is wrong. I think the way that it's being gone about is horrific. I think an app which requires various permissions should not be the way about it. Other universities use a keycard system, that kind of thing, and it's not perfect, but it does the job, and it's not intrusive in a way that an app which measures your location all the time is.
And do you think that so let's look generally at the past year and what you've seen happen with the academic, as in your work as a faculty, as a rep. What would you have done differently, more generally? How would you have gone about the role?
Like I said, take a proactive approach. Talk to the staff in charge of it while it's in its infancy to make sure that it doesn't get rolled out in a way which will be detrimental to students with data leakages.
And then let's move to the next year. So because we spent quite a lot of time sort of talking over it, but there has been a couple of these big stories in the academic officer role that are relevant to it. But I do want to talk about your sort of key plans for the future. Mm-hmm. And you've spoken a lot about sort of increasing engagement with the reps and sort of building that system up. How do you see your first sort of, I don't know, the typical question, first 100 days as USU academic officer? What are your priorities and how do you go about doing them?
I want to build a strong foundation with the department reps and then encourage them to build strong foundations with their course reps later on when they're elected. Because when you have that strong backbone, when you have a pyramid which stands strong with the academic officer at the top receiving the information from below and distributing information down to course reps through department reps, you get a solid network for academic representation. I think that's the most important thing right now when it comes to representation. People need to be able to talk across that entire group.
And do you think that's not there at the moment?
I don't think so, no.
Is that a systemic problem that's been going on for a long time, or is it a lack of action more recently?
It's a little bit about inspiring volunteers. So yeah, it's, it could be down to personality differences, to be honest. It's difficult to say, but it's been a very different vibe as a rep this year than it has the past few years, and it's not just me that's felt that.
And I want to sort of move on to talking about you mentioned the first point is making the university work for us rather than its own bank balance. How do you put that pressure on the university in the way that you want to?
You use the power of student voice. The university cannot function at its full potential if it has very bad PR. And using the student voice directly to the highest level, to the university teaching committee, maybe to Senate, talking to the Vice-Chancellor and Pro-Vice Chancellors about what the students want directly, after gathering input via the academic representation network, it's powerful. You see it in departments, you see it in faculties, and you need to see it at the highest level across the entire university.
And we've just got just under a minute left, and obviously it's a one-on-one race this time, which can be challenging, but it's also quite interesting in terms of getting to know more about the candidates. Mm-hmm. What do you think is the one thing that separates you, that makes you the person that people should be going out and voting for USU academic officer?
Oh, wow. That's a very loaded question. Oh, my word. I don't know. My go-to is the word proactive. I don't like sitting around waiting for things to happen. I like seeking them out and making them happen more on my time frame, which means I've been quite useful as a rep in the past, and I think I'd like to continue that.
Thank you, Matt, and we'll go back over to Beth in Studio Blue, who's speaking to Zhang, your opponent in the race.
Hello, thank you, Matt. I am joined by Zhang, and she is